In the beginning of the month, Hillary stated she didn't stop and think about using two separate emails for her work and personal correspondence. There were just too many problems in the world. She made no apology for not doing so. And then just last week, she admitted that it was a mistake and apologized. It was a long road to that. I'm sorry. Now, Colin, does America give her a pass and accept a fiasco as an honest mistake?
So I have to nuance what I say by offering a couple of different things. So first of all, I'm a tech person. And I have my multiple personal email accounts as well as business accounts, and I don't tend to mix them. By the same token, we've had people like Colin Powell come out and say that they've done the same thing. To me, I think in our political process, we focus entirely too much on the gotchas. And I'm not saying that there's not a legitimate concern with the use of sanctioned versus non-sanctioned email systems here. However, why is it that as an electorate, we can't ever actually talk about the issues that the candidates stand for, and we have to look for all these skeletons in the closet, which may or may not have any impact? Because I tell you what, if she is elected as president, she's going to have enough staff to make sure that she doesn't breathe out of White House environment.
Yes.
So I think it's kind of a moot point at that level.
Yeah. You know, and I think in just this particular case, there's a much political fallout here, as anything. It seems that all of the people who have looked at it so far, the Justice Department, whatnot, have said there's nothing illegal here. It's more a question maybe of judgment and how she's handled it. Just from the purely political point of view, I would just question more her ability, to see the train wreck coming and avoiding it. Just as a politician,
right?
She's not the politician her husband was.
Boy, that's the understatement of the year.
Yes, but it's true. It's very true. There's a lot of good things to be said about her, and in this particular case, sometimes she's just too cute by half. And she's parsing everything to figure out. She's got all these professional handlers, and they don't always do her a great service, I think. But I don't think this is some huge, horrible thing she did, and it's taking away the spotlight from issues.
Well, and my point, however, would be this, that the entire debate is focusing entirely too much on these non-issues.
Yes.
And I think from a character standpoint, there's definitely something to be said. If she made a mistake without the forethought to think about it, that's something to be considered in the grander scheme of things. I will be the first to say I'm not necessarily the biggest Hillary fan, but my not being a Hillary fan is based on positions on issues, and ultimately, I hate to say this, but it's the reality of American politics. American politics are a popularity game, and she comes across about as exciting as a brick does.
Yeah, well, that's part of her problem in today's political climate.
She's also very galvanizing, and
Yes.
you don't need somebody coming into the White House who has such a hardcore group of opponents to her already. We need somebody who can be more compromising.
Yeah, well, she has such a long history. I talk to a lot of people, and there is that feeling out there. I don't care if you're a Republican or Democrat, they just don't want reruns of the past. And however true that may be of her or not, that is a very big perception I'm finding to overcome.
Reruns are a very legitimate point. We are looking at 16 years and the last 24 of a Bush or a Clinton in power. We don't need political dynasties in this country because that is anathema to what this country was founded to be. And I think that plays the same reason as it plays against Jeb Bush.
Yes.
It should scare some of us to think of that.
So in my mind, first of all, relative to it taking away from the issues, it may be on the Democratic side. The Republicans are just sitting back and laughing. They don't.
Well,
they don't
I'm
really
sure they
care.
are.
They
They
don't
don't
really
care,
care,
no.
and they're not spending news cycles on it. The news media may be spending news cycles
Yes.
on it, and frankly, they aren't either, other than Fox. But the Republican candidates are not focusing. They may get a Hillary jab here or there, but
Yeah,
they're
but
they're
they-
more worried
they've got
about
a
Donald.
Trump problem.
They
Yeah,
have
they've
a
got
Donald
right.
worried
No, no,
about.
no,
They got the
no.
Donald.
But the Donald is focusing on some issues. Now, granted, not all of the issues that need to be focused on, but he's got some issues that he's been focused
Well,
on.
basically one.
Number two, the fact
Being
that
against
she
things.
would even think that that would be a reasonable process, and I'm sure she dictated security and all of the other things to her staff. She was trying to do something outside. She knew it was wrong. She knew it was wrong. There's nobody that's going to convince me she didn't know it was wrong. And the fact that she did that points, in my mind, to a significant flaw in her personality. And Bill Clinton was stupid around personal relationships and did stupid stuff. But he was a reasonable president, and he was able to work across the aisles. He was able to get things done. He balanced the budget. He did a lot for this country, in my opinion. There's no way that she can follow in his footsteps
Well,
because she is not. She would not be 1/100th the president that he would be.
Well, I don't know
It
about
was.
that, and again, when you talk about lying and saying, you're sorry, well, let's look at, lying about the Iraq War and everything that led up. It's nowhere in the ballpark here. It's nowhere in the
You know
ballpark.
what? Democrats bought the story that they had, and what they
Well, some
the
of them
story,
did, but
and the
it's
story they
Bernie
bought
did.
was dead
Bernie
wrong.
Sanders
They
did
were
not.
all dead wrong on
Barack
that.
Obama did not.
Well, except I will say that there was a willful misleading on a part of the Bush administration that I think never really got explored to the level that it should have.
Well,
Exactly. It's still to this day
whatever was sold, they all
unapologetic.
bought it.
Yeah, but they're unapologetic, and I think it's
None
been
of them
shown.
are. Democrats or Republicans.
Well, I'm just saying
It was
that
a
we're talking
non-issue
about
anyway,
the issue
because even if
itself.
they still
Yeah.
had the chemical weapons,
Yeah.
they had no evidence of intent to use against the United States.
They didn't, but I'm just saying on the level of email servers and a war that killed and, got us in the mess we're
But
in
it's-
today,
it's-
there's no comparison. But I think
But if
we
she
need
can
to
do that level
wrap
with an
this up.
email server,
Yeah.
what can she do with the United States?
Oh,
God
oh,
help us.
Well, that's a different, I think. Coming up, it's a worldwide problem. Refugees fleeing their homeland in search of a better life elsewhere. But is it similar to the United States illegal immigrant issues? Stay tuned.